What is up, guys? Welcome back to Fightful Overbooked here with a brand new interview. I am Corey Brennan here today with Kris Brady. How are you doing today, Kris?
Man, I'm good. I'm glad to finally be here with you, man.
Yeah, we had some trouble setting it up, but we are here now. So here we go. So mainly my first question is who was your biggest influence and inspiration to get into the world of professional wrestling, and in particular the world of independent professional wrestling?
Wrestling wise, I would definitely say a lot of the old schoolers from like the Attitude Era. Definitely like Undertaker, uh, the cruiserweights, Rey Mysterio, Juventud. Those are my guys when I was growing up. So to see them succeed on a platform that I've always wanted to succeed on or participate in, uh, made it easier for me to go, hey, I can be just like that because. Guys like Ray are my size. I'm taller than them. You know what I mean. So if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
Um, so that's what influenced me, at least in the grand scheme of things. Independent wrestling, honestly, I didn't even know. I mean, besides like Ring of Honor and like those promotions, I didn't know independent wrestling was a thing. You know what I mean? I knew there
yeah,
was like spot fest shows and like little stuff like that, but I never attended them growing up. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
when I got out of the military, it was where can I train? I want to be a wrestler. What can I do? And then once I started training, I started realizing, oh, independent wrestling is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Like I didn't know there was this
yeah.
many promotions, and from there it kind of skyrocketed.
And you did just mention they're coming out of the military, and you're a military man. So I do want to know, for you, what about the military really did? What was the biggest thing from the military that carried over into the world of wrestling?
Just discipline and hard work. You know what I mean? When you're in the military, it's very by the book.
Mm,
Uh, you show up at a certain time. You do nothing for a little bit, then you have to work out. You have to eat right. You have to be in formation at a certain time. You have to be early. A lot of
yeah,
that stuff carried on in my normal life. You know what I mean? So like I don't. I wake up. I wake up early in the morning. If I gotta be somewhere, I'm early. And even if it's a couple hours early, I'm early. It just taught me to be more disciplined with myself.
yeah. And uh, throughout your career so far, you started training out of Snake Pit Wrestling, and I just want to know how that's been, how that's been to train with.
That was fun, man. I when I got out of the army, they like basically said, where do you want to go? They're gonna basically. It was like an ETS. So when you get out of the army, they pay for you to move wherever you want. They just pay for all
Yeah,
your stuff and you figure it out. Um, Vegas was my top because like I was looking at wrestling schools, and if you want to make it in this business, you want to train by people who've made it,
yeah.
or who've been in the position that you want to be in. So I found Vegas. I reached out to Sin Bodie and I was like, hey, like this is what I want to do. They said come down. I moved there, and it was just off to the races from there, man.
And just asking, uh, again, just continuing on throughout your career, Prestige Wrestling has been somewhere where you have found yourself, and that is a promotion that is developing very well. It's getting more and more traction with every show. It feels like. What's it been like working with Prestige Wrestling?
Dude, prestige was a goal. So like when I got into training, I for I don't want to say unfortunately, but I had to move back to Washington to do some like issues that I made with my own self, like in Vegas. Like, hey, you if you don't do the right things and you're not getting a job or you're not paying for the essentials and you're being a smartass towards everybody, like shit goes downhill really quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I had to move back to Washington. Um, and then once I moved back to Washington, I just really started like diving deep into like what promotions do I want to wrestle for? How can I change what I'm doing? And like, how can I make myself more valuable to these places? And Prestige and Defy and Without a Cause at the time were three of the top promotions in the West Coast. And, it's where I wanted to see
yeah.
myself at. Um, Prestige, man, Prestige was a grind to get to, but it was definitely worth it. Bro, like, Prestige is the place, like the top place in the West Coast, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They're bringing in all the big names. Uh, they're bringing in seminars. They're having shows in California. They're teaming up with West Coast Pro and Deadlock, and you know what I mean. Like if you want to be successful, you want to work for successful companies.
Yeah, and with Prestige Wrestling, obviously in that locker room, you've got someone with such a wealth of knowledge of Alex Shelley, who's there
Yes.
so much. And what's it been like working around him? Have you talked to him a bit? Have you learned from him a lot?
Oh, so I think that's one of my like biggest things I need to work on. Um, you see somebody like Alex Shelley, and you grow up watching this man. I grew up watching the X Division like crazy.
Yeah,
Uh, I started noticing like Alex Shelley when he was doing the bit with Kevin Nash. Like, I mean, that's when I really started to get into the X Division. And bro, working with somebody who you've seen on TV for so long, it's it's intimidating, but it's not intimidating because
yeah,
they're still you still work with that person. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I I I've talked to him on a few occasions, but at the same time, I don't want to bother anybody. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't just walk up to him in the middle of a show and go, "Hey, can you watch my match?" Like, which I should, or maybe
yeah,
do it beforehand. But like, I usually when I'm at Prestige, I'm sitting in Gorilla, and usually
yeah,
when I'm in Gorilla, there's Alex Shelley, there's Will, and the Midnight Heat, and so on, and we just sit there and I don't even talk. I just sit there and I just listen, almost like a fly on the wall. Like, what do they think of this? Like, what about this
yeah,
match? Like, how do they plan this match? What do they go over? Like, what do they do? And I'll sit somewhere in a corner. That's why you see all the Roseland photos of me sitting on the stage looking like an idiot. I'm sitting on the stage because I'm watching what I was
yeah.
listening to in the back. So now I'm trying to see what they see, so I can make myself better. You know what I mean?
And does getting to like see that, does that like also prepare you almost? I know you're still very young into your career, but that does still, does that almost, to have that preparation to learn from those guys and see the background, is that something that you find very valuable even at this stage of your career?
I mean, of course, I find it valuable. At the same time, I'm hungry. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm more hungry than I've ever been in my life. I feel like my shit's on point right now. I feel like I'm going to the gym all the time now. I'm just waiting for that door to open so I can kick that some bitch down. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's you listen for so long and I get the opportunities and I'm on the Roselands and I'm on the Hawthorns and but that's not it. You know what I mean? When you listen to
yeah.
these people talk and you listen to these veterans go over, their careers and stuff, you almost want to not mimic it, but you want to follow in some of those footsteps and some of those words of wisdoms that they've put on you or that you've at least heard them say. And yeah, I mean, it definitely prepares you because now you know, like, hey, these people on TV, this is what they see. Okay, now if I do this and I do it the way that they see it, and they've been doing it successfully for all these years, if I follow along the same footsteps, I'll be successful as well.
And one thing that I can say about you is that you have a very unique move set and a very unique style when you're in the ring. It's very eye catching. I find it to be very, very entertaining. But how did that come about? Because it does feel almost just it almost feels like you just think that looks cool. I'm going to do that. That's what, and then do it. That's what it seems like to
Right?
me anyway.
How did I come up with the character?
Or
Uh,
the kind of your move set and your style
yeah,
is it
moves and
kind of
all that.
just, yeah,
Man, I just like to have a fun time and mess around. You know what I'm saying? So like, when COVID hit, I wasn't really doing anything. I'm just a plain nobody
yeah,
wrestler. Well, then COVID hit, and I finally can grow my hair out. I'm not in the military no more. I want my hair back. I want my braids back. Like, okay, cool. Well, nobody's wearing overalls. Why not? I'll try it. And then I put on the overalls, and then I threw on the red bandana, and I was bumping DMX one day, and it all started to click. And then I was like, okay, well, how many people do dance moves out of like certain situations? Like the hip toss, kip up, and the dance, and the what I'm saying, and the drop
yeah,
kick. Like, I mean, doing those, like I've never seen nobody do it. Now, what stands out to promoters and what stands out to the fans and what stands out to everybody is something different. There's only so many shoulder tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, arm drags you can see. But if I do the drop down, leapfrog, stop, hit my dance, duck, hit a hip toss, flip up with you, hit my dance again, and hit you with a drop kick, it's essentially the same thing. It's just with my flavor on it. And I think that really stood out to a lot of promotions out here. It was like, hey, we've seen the same thing 10
yeah.
times, but you stood out the most because it was different, it was entertaining, it was a different way of doing it. So that's really what I started coming out with. I started like I watched a lot of K Quick growing up, and a lot of
Yeah.
like '98 to like early 2000s Rey Mysterio, where he was no mask, eyebrow piercing, overalls, bandana, like that version of him. And it was just like, okay, well, R-Truth does this and he dances, and Scotty 2 Hotty dances, and Ray's kind of the flippy guy. And well, let me take his overalls and mix it with R-Truth's like funness, and then maybe I can do in like a Scotty 2 Hotty where like it doesn't it doesn't matter what I do as long as the fans are into it and they're having fun, and I can leave them with a different outlook on what they saw. So like if you got like 10 matches and every match is a 5-star match, well my match might not be 5 stars for everybody, but I want them to go home and be like, hey, you guys gotta see this dude, everybody's favorite homeboy. Like, man, he's out there
Yeah.
gigging and having a fun time, and having the whole fans get up and hit the Dougie with me is crazy. So I mean, that's what I was thinking of when I came up with all the stuff I did. So
There's a lot of Washington natives right now currently just absolutely killing it right now, just
yes,
in the scene in AEW. Just it's how inspiring is that to you, someone who's just breaking into the scene to see all that?
it's definitely inspiring to see like the West Coast get so much love, especially the Pacific Northwest. Like, you have a lot of killers out here, man.
Hmm.
I think I think the wave that's going on right now is obviously you got your C4, you got Jaden, you got Amira, you got fucking Drexel, who's on the tail end of his career. You got me, who's coming up, and just there's I don't want to say there's rules, but like when that crop is done,
Yeah, you're the
then
next
the new crop
generation.
comes up. And
Yeah,
I'm 30. I just turned 30 recently, so like, and I got children and a wife and a shoot job and problems like everybody else. But when I see people like that, people who I'm with that are making a wave, it's inspiring to me, because when those names are gone,
yeah,
then that door gets opened up, and then then I come through and kick it open, and then a bunch of others join us. 'Cause there's a lot of new wave coming up too, like a lot of new talent coming up in this area as well, with the Oregon Pro Wrestling, with Peak, um, with the Dragonplex Dojo, with Canada's training. Like, there's a lot of talent coming up, so I think it's gonna be a fun couple of years for sure. But like with them being on AEW and like Ring of Honor and all this TV stuff, like it's inspiring, because it's like, okay, well, they got their opportunity now. When am I going to get mine? You know what I mean?
yeah. And this is probably going to come out after, but it's Wednesday Dynamite tonight. There is two Washington guys in that match
Sure.
in on the show, Swerve and Nick on that show. So I just want to ask you, who do you think's going to win that one? Obviously,
Ah, ah. I'm a fan of, I don't know, man. Swerve's on his shit lately.
yeah,
Like, lit a fire under his ass and he's killing it. But at the same time, you got Nick Wayne, and like, I love Nick. Like, man, that dude, like, it's weird, because like I'm older than him by
yeah,
a long shot, right? But like, at the same point, it's like you look at guys like that and you're like, oh man, like I can ask him for advice, because he's with Christian and he's with like all these legends in AEW learning. And man, that kid's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's just waiting. And I think tonight's that opportunity, like a coming out party. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
I think tonight's that night for sure.
And you have won some championships already. The Wrestling with Regret Championship. Okay, you good?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, the Wrestling with Regret Championship. So I do want to ask, what was that like to win that and work with Brian Zane?
Oh man, Brian Zane's fun to work with. I've been doing PAL for a little bit now. Like I said, when I came up with this character and this, me, like all the doors started opening up one at a time. So it was here, then here, then here, then oh, I'm doing Prestige. Now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing Defy. And now I'm on Prestige. So like, I've definitely been able to ask him for advice, and like working with him has been a blessing. You know what I'm saying? So, um, it's fun. I get to bounce ideas off him, stuff we want to do with the title, like the Trap House fight that we had like a month ago. Getting to work with people like Alan Angels and Levi Shapiro and like Vinny, and like the list goes on. So it's definitely fun. I'm happy. I mean, I've been champion for over 200 days now. You know what I'm saying? So it's been working
Yeah.
out real good for me.
And so I do want to ask: is there a particular match that stands out in your career so far? That stands out as a match that you kind of realized, right? I can do this, and I can do this very well. I can get the crowd behind me. What was your coming out party? Do you think?
Funny Bone.
Yeah.
I wrestled Funny Bone at POW outside of like an arcade in Eugene, and it was really my first match where it was like, okay, Kris is good, but then let's see what he can do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it was very much, here's what we're gonna do. Shut up and go do it.
Yeah.
And to get the crowd who loves Funny Bone, like they're like they love Funny Bone, and to have them all at the in the match and in between sections like screaming my name and chanting my name, going from Funny Bone's gonna kill you to Let's Go Brady. It was
Yeah.
fun, man. It was definitely my coming out party. Ever since then, like that's when stuff I think really started to hit the ball or had the ball rolling for me was that match with Funny Bone at POW.
And as we start to wind down a little, I do want to ask you. We're getting towards the midway point of 2024 now. What are your aspirations and goals for the second half of 2024?
Man, I love what I'm doing, but I want more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I'm doing a lot, but I feel like I'm not doing enough. So like
Yeah.
I want to be I am a mainstay in prestige. Like I stand on that. But at the same time, I want those big matches.
Yeah.
I want those opportunities to showcase that I can be more than just a dancing fun everybody's favorite homeboy. Like I can do more than that. I want to get in there with the top talent. I want to continue to learn. I want to do a Ring of Honor. I want to do an AEW tape and like I want to wrestle in Washington Hall. Like I last year I will I want to make this year I want to make it on the PWI 500. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like last year I killed it. But I feel like I didn't make the list obviously, but I'm hoping this year like I make it. And it's not because I'm like, oh well, I'm not good if I don't make it. It's just on those lists, like making that is something that we've read that book since we were like that magazine since we were kids. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to be in that? Who doesn't
Exactly.
want to wrestle in Alex Shelley? Who doesn't want to main event a Roseland? Who doesn't want to be the guy that all social media is talking about? You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something I aspire to be. And I think the rest of 2024, I'm going to continue to work towards those goals.
And I'm going to end with one last question, just a little fun one for you to think about. Uh, any match, any right now, where anyone active right now, it doesn't matter the company, if you could have it, what would it be?
Any match.
Any match, any opponent, regardless of company.
All right, Daniel Garcia, dance off. Let's go.
I love the sound of that. Actually, to be honest, yeah, that's a
No,
good one.
Daniel Garcia would be fun. Leo Rush is somebody I really want to get in the ring with. Um, Definitely Leo. Uh, yeah, so like there's like a handful. I mean, anybody in any promotion I want to step in the ring with. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I can't just put my eyes on one,
everyone.
but Daniel Garcia, Leo Rush, anybody who's been recently released, like if they want to step up to the trap house, they can step up to the trap house. I'm just sitting there waiting. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
hungry. Like I said, like I want it all. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So how do I get to those opportunities? Okay, well I got to knock down the ones that are in those spots and
yeah.
show that I belong in the ring with them. You know what I mean? So anybody, man. Those are like just a couple of my dream matches for sure.
Thanks for stopping by for this interview, Kris. You've been awesome to talk to. Do you want to tell people where to find you and where they can see you coming up with upcoming bookings?
Yeah, man. So I got a couple fun stuff coming up, bro. So I got uh two new debuts I'm doing with Metal Mania and SOS is coming up. Um I got my Instagram is Kris Brady 35. Twitter is or X, right? X
Yeah,
is Kris Brady 23. I got Pete coming up. Geek Fest is coming up. It's a whole like video game convention center, Angel the Winds that we're teaming up with Pete to do. A lot more PAL shows, a lot more prestige coming up, and a lot more new debuts coming up, man. So follow me and let's get going.
make sure to give Kris a follow, guys. Make sure to give Fightful Overbooked a follow. And guys, I'll be back with more interviews coming up this week. And yeah, See you guys in the next one. Peace.
I appreciate you for having me.